Hi everyone, my name is Sadam Yahia. I live in Yemen and we are in Kamchatka right now. I'm very glad to be in such a magnificent region. It's very beautiful and very cool here. This region is different from other regions of Russia. We can say that it is more natural and untouched. I've wanted to come here for a long time, and I can see that this is reality. Russia by Foreigners is the only travel show that destroys age-old stereotypes. 10 foreign students, 10 regions, and 3 days to find a common language with the largest country in the world. And one look at the volcano to experience the fire-breathing lava of passion. Welcome to Kamchatka. As they say, let's go!
We are going to visit the Ethno-Salon Shaman. The exposition of the peoples of the Kamchatka Peninsula is present here. We're going to learn about the history and life of the Itelmens, Koryaks and Chukris. Come on! These are unique peoples. They have been living here for centuries, adapting to the most difficult living conditions. Of course, they have created a special system of their culture and way of life. But first of all, these are clothes, of course. It is very cold and snowy in Kamchatka. For example, the snow cover can reach 7 or 8 meters right here, in the area of Avacha Bay, where we are now. Winter lasts about 8 months here. This is kuklyanka. It is made of deer hide. The outer layer is leather and the inner layer is fur. Double-sided fur kuklyankas were made for severe cold weather in the northern areas. Every child of the Itelmen, Koryak and Chuchki is sewn up in such a jumpsuit right after birth. Such a jumpsuit protected a small creature as a skin protected an animal. The child was sewn up in such a jumpsuit and was taken out only a year later. A caring mother placed pieces of moss in this flap between the legs for comfort. She changed the moss several times a day. By the way, it was the Kamchatka peoples who invented the baby diaper. And it was when they were still at the primitive life level. Such moss was that diaper. Let's try on this hat and find out what elements are left on it from ancient times. What pieces of it are similar to the elements of ancient Malachi? Here is such an interesting element, remained on its backside. However, it is for beauty now. And earlier, the animal tail was sewn into the hat on purpose. It was longer and wrapped around the neck. Now we are going to look at the popular musical instrument of the Kamchatka peoples.
Is that a drum?
It's a tambourine. This is a classic-sized tambourine. Such tambourines are made by craftsmen in the northern village of Anavgai. It is made of deer leather. The sound is amazing. I want you to feel it right away. I'm not saying hear, but feel. You need to feel the tambourine. Come on.
Isn't that amazing? Awesome.
This musical instrument has 42 tonalities. Once, Petropavlovsk was a very small town. At this time, it occupied an area where a modern city bus makes only 2 or 3 stops. But quite a long time ago, in 1928, they decided to make a recreation area for citizens in this small town, so that they would meet each other and, of course, that they would start their own families. And having created their own families, they would have lived here in the town for many years. A walk in the park was not free in 1928. However, the ticket was very cheap. If a young man bought a ticket to the Park of Culture and Recreation on Nikolskaya Hill to his girlfriend several times in a row, her parents should have already thought about the upcoming wedding. Nikolskaya Hill, located in front of us, received another unofficial name. This is the Love Hill.
I can feel how clean the air is.
Air, really?
Before I went to Kamchatka, I only knew that there were volcanoes, beautiful nature, and nothing else. I knew nothing about indigenous peoples, their traditions and culture. I can say that this is a natural wonder. I saw the slopes and hills when I was in flight, and I really liked it. It reminds me of my homeland. The landscape is mostly mountainous in my country. Kamchatka and Yemen are similar in this regard. Our museum is about volcanoes, but the main theme of our museum is the Earth. We recount about our common planet. We feel the presence of volcanoes on our planet, no matter how far from them we live, because we breathe our air, drink water, step on solid ground. Not everything was created with volcanoes. But a lot of things that we used to see around were once created by our planet through a volcanic process. Volcanoes are all different, but they exist in the same way, and they are arranged in the same way. At least the type of volcanoes I'm talking about right now. How did it happen? Where did these stones come from? Or these? Their materials are very similar. For example, it is obsidian, or volcanic glass. It is also obsidian, but it was not formed, but poppled. It was a drop that flew in the air, tumbling and memorizing its shape. This is a lava flow fragment of Koryaks volcano. The lava flowed slowly and hardened. We're interested in how this or that stone was created and what it can tell us. And it can tell a lot of interesting things. There are minerals inside the stones. We can identify these minerals and find out how they were created. By the way, some of them are very active. For example, the black sand that appears as a result of crushing stones is very magnetic. There's a lot of iron in it. This iron is exactly the kind that reacts to a magnet. Artyom can work with it later as well. An ordinary magnet pulls our black volcanic sand very strongly. It's very difficult to remove it afterwards. All volcanoes erupt because there is gas inside them. This is the moving force that causes the lava to rise to the surface and be ejected. But it turned out that this is water. In general, volcanoes erupt with a substance that consists of water almost entirely, by 80% or more. Is it steam right now? Yes, it's steam. Volcanoes make rings out of steam sometimes. It doesn't happen often, but these rings can exist for a very long time. In the end, the answer was found to be very great and important. Volcanoes erupt water that our planet produces. It is located deep in the mantle and is supplied through various types of volcanoes. It can return underground from the surface and return to our surface again later. I recommend taking this piece in hand. This is the lower part of our Earth's crust, under the ocean. First, there is 5 kilometers of water, then mud, then sediment, and only then there is this baseball layer below. 4% of its weight is water. This is equal to 80 grams for this stone. It's a cup. There is a cup of water in this stone. But this water is not liquid. The stone did not absorb it in its cavities. The water turned into serpentine. These little green crystals are this mineral. Our planet is so dynamic and so rich inside. The lava is gushing out of this crack. This gush of a real volcano has a size of 200 to 300 meters. The cone forms around immediately. Such cones are formed within 1 or 2 weeks usually. The eruption then subsides. I'm very happy to be the first person from Yemen to visit Kamchatka. Here, this is our city. We have visited the Volcano Museum, where we have been told about the origin of volcanoes and how they affect nature. We've been told about local and global research in Kamchatka. It was very interesting to find out about it. We're in the Kamchatka Regional Scientific Library, named after Krashenikov now. I was surprised. I'm very pleased. It's very interesting to see the indigenous peoples. I've really liked it. Wow, I want a personal tambourine. I'm going to take it to Tumin.
Hello, our dear guests. Our dear friend, you can learn more about the culture of the Kamchatka indigenous peoples today.
I was amazed at the indigenous culture, at how kind and sincere the indigenous people are. They have told about their national clothes. They differ from people in other parts of Russia in their special attachment to nature. The Kamchatka inhabitant differs from Yemenis because they live in different climates. Of course, this affects their traditions. There are deer, seafood, ocean, sea there.
Well, Sadam, the heart and soul of the Koryak people are in your hands now. They are in the tambourine. The tambourine is also made of deer hide. What are we going to do now? Correctly capturing in this way. We take the tambourine, the bells should be at the bottom. Your forefinger should be on the crossbar between the bells. That's right, that's it. Forefinger. Well, put forward the right leg if you are a man and the left leg if you are a woman. We are flexible at our knees, really flexible, because we are on the ground, not on asphalt now. Therefore, flexibility should be in our knees. We turn the tambourine to the ground. We turn our face
like
to the
this?
ground, right? You should just copy me, okay? Now, it's like we're going to grab the energy of the earth with a stick and carry it up, okay? Now, slowly, carefully. It was interesting in the screams of our guys. Is it great? Thank you very much. This is a cultural exchange.
مشتاق يا صنعاء والشوق قتال مشتاق يا صنعاء والشوق قتال مشتاق للجلسة أنا والأحباب
I have no questions and only impressions. I'm joyed. I'm glad to be in such an environment. It feels like I'm living in the old days. This is very unusual and interesting for me. Thanks. Thank you all for the opportunity to see such unusual things. I'd like to live in Kamchatka because the city is clean, the air is always fresh, and nature is intact.
My name is Olga Samoilova. Sadam and I are going to make a small bowl in the form that the Koryaks made about 800 to 900 years ago. This is Kamchatka clay. I dug it up and cleaned it. We're going to knead it a little bit now. You should try to make a lump. You can even slap him a little like that. We're slapping. We made it smooth. We put it and start making the sides thinner by scrolling slowly like this. You should not try to make them very thin at once. Scrolling like this. They made such vertical strips usually. Like this. You can make the lower part of the bowl with such scratches in the same way. It is very important that the sides were the same thickness. It's not necessary to make them thin, but so that they are more or less thin to the touch.
And how do they make the sides of the same thickness?
It's an experience. Only experience.
Is there any tool that helps make a uniform thickness?
Only with the help of hands.
Only with the help of hands.
Watch how I do it.
Yes, you're right. Can I take this as a sample and do the same, for example?
You can. You can even do it this way.
Well, let's try. Well, that's easier.
Is it a little easier?
The most difficult thing for me is to make a uniform thickness. And that's it. Let's try it.
Well, it looks like it already. The sides are smooth when the inside cavity has the correct shape. Because our example has the correct shape too.
So, is it well done?
Yes, the bowl is precious. And there are prints on it right away. You can cut or bend it.
And what about this?
Your bowl is very interesting.
Is it better than before?
Yes, it's much better. You can take a stick and sign the bowl to make it personalized.
The Kamchatka inhabitant differ from people in other parts of Russia in their devotion of nature. They have ties that bind them to nature. They eat seafood mostly. These are caviar, fish, etc.
We are going to cut up the fish. This is a small coho salmon. We're going to cut up a little coho salmon. We should separate the spine from this side plate. After catching a fish, we eat the head at once. We cut it off like this and eat it. We eat its eyes, upper piece, cartilage, inner piece, and this little fin, which we can see here. It is very tasty when fresh. No other pieces of fish of this family are eaten fresh. You should hold the fish by its tail or head with one hand, so it doesn't slip out, okay? And in one motion, the knife should be held at an angle below 40. No. Below 45 degrees, like this. Yes, that's right.
Like this?
You should hold the knife between the fins without placing it too deep, and cut with the tip of the knife in this spot. We make an incision in this spot. That's it. Put the fish down. We're making an incision. That's it. We should remove the head away. Fish is usually cut up on the shore. They make a flat of coastal grass to cut fish on it. Such boards are not used. Fish are not washed in water. It is simply wiped with the grass and salted. Then we should separate the side plates. The spine should stay right here in the middle. Hold the knife like this. Not like this, at an angle. And then we'll have a neat plate.
And can I this way?
Yes, of course, of course. Closer for convenience. Closer.
That's it. I've got the skills and can work at the fish factory now.
This is the simplest method of cutting fish. We're going to make a fish cutlet. What should we do? We wet our hands with water so that the minced fish does not stick to them. We take a small piece of minced fish and form it. We slap it on the mashed potatoes with herbs inside. We shape the cutlets.
That's it. It's all done, right? Yes.
We take the minced fish, then we do it like this. Here, then we flatten it a little. That's right. We shape it. Tundra is located next to the ocean. Berries grow there. Here you go. It's a rose hip. You shake it off and eat it. There are pips inside. You should remove them. Look here. We open it and remove the pips. Rose hip is very healthful. It contains a huge amount of vitamin C. Is it delicious?
We have something similar in my homeland.
It is very small usually, but it's heavy, big and huge near the ocean. It is grafted with nothing. It is sprinkled with no chemicals. It's absolutely natural. Look here. Do you see a black berry? This is a crow's berry.
We have something also similar, but it's sweeter there.
What is its name?
I don't remember.
Can you imagine how many berries had to be picked for the winter?
Yeah. We are cutting grass to make bags and baskets out of it. Wow, that's great.
Sockeye salmon with cloudberry is very tasty.
Yes, it's really delicious.
Do you like it?
Oh, the food looks so delicious, and it's really delicious. There are a lot of different dishes, seafood, caviar. I'm going to taste a lot today. Woodwork was very widespread among the local people in the southern part of the Kamchatka Peninsula. The Itelmens made very beautiful things with primitive tools. The first is a figurine that I literally cut down with an axe from a small log. The next one has already been slightly chiseled, and it is the completed, interesting result. Sadam, each of us has to make a figurine today. We start cutting slowly. Look here, in this way. Literally, by millimeter. So could you turn the chisel over like this, please? That's right. So we can get a symmetrical and beautiful result. To make the figurine look like a raven, here. Well, never mind. We'll make at least one figurine now. As a keepsake, you work with tools, You try to do it with your own hands. It's popular to use copy machines by modern craftsmen now. This is not handmade. This is not the work of a wood carver, but of a programmer. The figurines are made similar to each other like 2 drops of water. We are making eyes. That's how we should cut a little on one side. Oh. Ta-ta-ta-ta-dam! Sadam, take this. Thank you. Here is such a raven maid. From Kamchatka. I will return with a lot of skills and abilities from Kamchatka. I've already learned a lot. Well done.
Мы пройдем древние обряды, песни спеть будем очень рады. Эй, гармошка, веселей играй, прославляй любимый милый край. Алла-халла, алла-халла, алла-лалай, аллу-аллу, счастье на камлай. Норгали, норгали, соберет нас в круг.
We'll go into the water. You should put the board on the water surface when the water is at the level of your waist. The freeboard is lying flat on the water, isn't it? It should also stay in the same position if you climb on it. You need to be in the correct position on the board. The correct position is like this. This is my first time surfing. It's not easy, but very interesting. I was afraid at first, but then I didn't want to leave the sea. Very cool. I don't have enough words to tell you about the beauty of this place, about the nature and atmosphere. Come here. Welcome to Kamchatka. Goodbye, Kamchatka. I'll be back for sure. Bye.